I started shooting film back in 2021, and at that time it was super exciting because I was learning a new medium. I was trying to figure out how to get the best out of it to satisfy my vision, and also to figure out how to work it alongside my digital photos. Now it's 3 years later and we've got a lot to talk about. So in the past, I've made videos like this, the Canon R6 versus Insta800T, as well as a video like this, the Canon RP versus Insta800T. And in these videos, I kind of get the images from the digital and the film files to kind of meet at like a midpoint that I like. Basically making the film not too filmy and the digital not too digitally. My biggest inspiration for shooting film in the first place anyways are artists such as Eric Floberg, Katie Nicole, and of course Cam Mackey, who actually has done videos just like the ones that I do right now. Their work kind of speaks to me in a way, and at that time I decided that this would be the path I would want to pursue. In a way, my main purpose of shooting film is to facilitate my journey in crafting like a look or a style for my work. So I definitely heard this somewhere before, but I can't quite pinpoint the source. But the gist of it is that film photos were meant to look beautiful and digital photos are made to look accurate. Which kind of explains why when we get our scans back from the labs, most people tend to be satisfied with the look of it already. Like there's not much to edit after that, if any. People often confuse this with authenticity, which we will get into in another video. On the other hand, digital photos are meant to look realistic. However, realistic perspectives kind of seem boring to us, just because that's what we see every single day. With film photos, we're often much closer to the end product, though we may not have as much flexibilities in the first place anyways, whereas with digital photos, I kind of look at it like a blank slate, something that's in its purest form that tends to look boring to me unless I do something about it. The grain, the texture, the halations, and to a certain extent even the lens that you're using contributes to that character trait in these images. This has mainly been my setup for like the past 2 years or so. When I go on shoots, I ideally want to go with 2 cameras, one film and one digital. On the film camera, ideally it would be a sharp clinical lens with a film stock of choice. An example of this would be like this Canon EOS 1N with a 35mm Sigma f1.4 art lens and the Canon EF 85mm f1.4 LIS USM lens. So super sharp clinical lenses with a film stock of choice. My preferred film stock has been Portra 800 for daytime shoots and Insta800T for nighttime shoots. This setup helps me balance the two mediums a little better before we get into that editing phase. I tend to use like sharper lenses on the film photos because I try to retain as much detail as I can, as film naturally does like let the detail kind of smoothen off a little bit anyways. Whereas on the digital ones, like we're all familiar with how like digital sensors could be super sharp and you know, super detailed these days. So the vintage lenses or these like not super sharp lenses kind of allow it naturally to smoothen off the edges. It almost kind of gives you that illusion of, dare I say, halation. Here are a couple sample images from shoots that utilize this setup. In my opinion, I feel like that interest level for film is slowly dying down. Safe to say, I don't know if film is gonna be able to handle another like apocalypse like it did last time. I don't feel like it can afford another resurgence in the future. I think that these companies are just gonna go down. I'm not particularly sure why, but I have to say that if it does go away this time, I'm not sure I'll miss it that much anymore. I've had such an amazing time getting into film photography, and the memories that I have with it, the friends that I've made because of it, those are things that I will always cherish in my heart. Unfortunately, the prices and the scarcity of film is getting worse by day, and it almost just makes like shooting film for fun just impossible at this point. Now, Fuji fanboys, listen, I know you think that like, you know, the solution is clear. Just get a Fuji, buy a Fuji film, buy an X100V, buy an X-T5. Fuji film cameras do not replace film. I don't even know how to begin to explain this. They don't replace film. Film simulations don't replace film. Film emulations from, one of my favorite companies that I've worked with, like the Hanser, they're amazing. It just doesn't replace film because it's not a standard look. People don't understand this until they go through it. Now, if you're a film photographer and you have found peace in jumping to a Fuji film camera and feel like, hey, I don't need to shoot film anymore, I'm getting the same thing that I've always wanted anyways, that's good for you. I'm really happy for you. But if you are not aiming for that very popular look from film, if that's not what you're going for, I don't think Fuji cameras are going to help in that sense. I'll keep doing my part by making videos on film photography as well as works through the same kind of like workflow that I've been doing. But honestly, like I've mentioned, I'm ready to let it go when the time comes. It's been a hell of a journey, and I can safely say that I've taken some of my best works on film. I hate to sound like I don't care, because honestly, I do. I like shooting film. I still want to shoot film. But I do believe that my artistic vision should not be confined to the existence of a certain medium, and neither should yours.